If you're a fan of my channel, then you know that I think Stu Macher is still alive and will return in Scream 7. And who could possibly be his accomplice? Let's get into it.
Certain rules. Push the laws and you end up dead.
This is the moment when the supposedly dead killer comes back to life.
Not in my movie.
Surprise, Sydney.
He's gone mad.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
A very simple formula.
You want to play psycho killer?
Everybody's a suspect.
No, please don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel.
I'll be right back.
Okay, I think it's gonna go something like this.
I'm Pamela, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning into another video. It's been a while since I've done a Stu video. I owe you guys some kind of Stu Macher video. I was just thinking about his potential return in Scream 7 and how it's gonna go down, who's gonna be working with him, and I just figured let's chat about it a little bit. And I do have some ideas on who could be his accomplice. We have quite a few options, but in case we have anyone new here today, I will just start off by saying my main theory is that Stu Macher is leading a cult of ghost faces. You might be familiar with this theory. This is a popular theory amongst fans for decades now because this was the original plan for Scream 3. Stu Macher was originally going to return in Scream 3, leading a cult of ghost faces consisting of a bunch of young adults, like college students or high school students, but that idea got scrapped because of real-life events. But fans have kind of been holding on to this theory for all of these years, and I do believe that this is where these last two movies have been headed. With Scream 5 and Scream 6, there are a ton of Stu Macher cult clues. I have done several videos on this. I will link them for you guys in case you want to check them out. Please do, because there are a lot of good clues in there and I go into pretty great detail. So if you're interested, definitely check them out. I won't get into all of the details here today in this video, but I will just quickly say there are a ton of cult clues in 5 and 6. I do think that Richie Kirsch and Amber Freeman were a part of Stu's cult, as well as Jason and Greg in Scream 6 from the opening scene in Scream 6. So Amber does say something in Scream 5 like that her and Richie met on a message board and that she was radicalized and just wanted to be a part of something. So I do think that that is a major cult clue right there. I think Stu is leading this cult and recruiting young adults on this message board. I mean, just think about it. Like, he has to be able to reach people far and wide. And I do think that he is in hiding because he faked his death. You know, majority of the world thinks that he's dead, but he's actually alive. So he can't just be out in the streets leading this cult. He needs to do it from the comfort of his own home, in hiding, and you know, he uses the internet to reach far and wide. I do think that this cult is going to be nationwide. I think we are going to see Ghostface attacks happening all over the country. We might not see them actually happen, but rather Sydney will hear about it on the news or something like that. And then we also have to remember that Jason and Greg knew Richie. Jason says we have to finish Richie's movie. So I do think that Jason and Greg were also a part of this message board where he met Richie. And another big cult clue is that Kirby Reed says, I take a special interest in Ghostface attacks. And she's been tracking Jason and Greg's online activity.
Here, 2 Vics were residents of my city before they moved here for college. I've been investigating their online activity for the past few months.
So I do think that this is further confirmation that this cult is active online, on the internet. I do think that Kirby knows a lot more than she is letting on. Us as the audience, you know, we're not allowed to know this yet. And Kirby as an FBI agent is investigating this top secret investigation, and she can't just share this information with, you know, the core 4 in Scream 6. This is like top secret FBI information. I do also think that it's interesting that Stu being alive is a theory that exists within the universe because of that scene with Mindy and Kirby. Kirby says the TV that killed Stu Macher, and Mindy says, yeah, if you believe he's really dead.
TV that killed Stu Macher.
If you believe he's dead.
Which that alone just proves that it is a theory in that world as well, not just in real life amongst fans, but in the movie universe. And Mindy is a believer herself. And notice Kirby's face when Mindy says this. Kirby's face is very suspicious, and Kirby doesn't say anything. I think the fact that Kirby said nothing actually says a lot. If Kirby didn't really know that Stu's alive, she would have said something like, that's a crazy theory, or why would you say that? Why do you think that? That's insane. She didn't say anything, and I think that says a lot. Now, I do think that Kirby Reed knows Stu is alive. I have done a video on this in the past going into great detail. I will link that for you guys now. So I'm not going to get into extensive detail about it in this video. I do plan on doing another video in the very near future, so stay tuned for that. But like I said, you can also check out my past video. Scream fans who are not fans of the Stu theory like to say that this line from Mindy in Scream 6 is making fun of the Stu believers, but I disagree. Just because, yes, there are people out there who have kind of been a fan of the Stu theory for decades since Scream 3, but before Scream 5 came out, this whole Stu movement was really not a thing. This theory was not spreading like wildfire like it is right now. The reason that the Stu movement is currently so big is because of the tons of clues that they put in Scream 5. So if these new Scream creators are the ones who really ignited this Stu movement, why would they make fun of us in Scream 6? They are the ones who started this movement up again. The whole Stu movement was really, really quiet before Scream 5 came out. So I think that non-Stu believers really misinterpreted this line in Scream 6. I think this is a major seed that has been planted for the inevitable return of Stu in Scream 7. But now that we've gotten all that out of the way, talked about some of the cult clues, let's discuss who could potentially be Stu's accomplice. I have quite a few options in mind. I have done several videos on this as well. I have so many Stu Macher theory videos. You guys can check out my entire Stu Macher playlist. If you're new here, if you haven't seen any of my past videos, I have like over 40 Stu videos in my playlist. So I will link that for you now. But let's get into some suspects of who could be Stu's accomplice. Some I've mentioned before and some are kind of new. So first up, let's get this one out of the way. Christina Carpenter. This is the mother of Sam and Tara. If you've been on my channel for a while, then you know most of my theories on this. I do think that there is a good chance that Christina is currently working with Stu Macher and has been working with him all of these years, helping him stay in hiding. We have to remember that Christina was in love with Billy Loomis. And I think that Christina has a dark side. I do think that she knew what Billy and Stu were up to back in the day, and very well could have been their accomplice back in '96, or at the very least knew what they were up to and was like okay with it. I do think that in the Scream 5 opening scene, they dropped a lot of clues for this. You know, Ghostface on the phone says to Tara, your mother loves horror movies, she loves the stab movies.
But she says you love scary movies and that you guys have that in common. She's proud of making a fan out of you.
She is?
Have you ever seen Stab? Well, your mother loves that movie. She talks about it all the time in group.
Now, why would Christina love Stab? Probably because she's like nostalgic for that time in her life with Billy. And Ghostface also emphasizes that he knows Christina from group, which is meant to be like an Alcoholics Anonymous group. But I think that this really means Stu's cult. They really emphasize it in this opening scene. Ghostface says I know her from group about 6 times.
A friend of hers from group. Just tell her I'm from group.
Oh, she goes to a group. Hey, once you tell me what kind of group we're talking about, is it?
She talks about me in group.
She talks about it all the time in group.
So I do think that that is kind of code for Stu's cult. I think it's very suspicious that Christina is always away. Why is she never here? Especially after both of her kids get attacked several times. Like, okay, sure, maybe she has a rocky relationship with Sam, but Tara, I mean, Tara was brutally attacked in the hospital. She's like a minor at the time. She's still in high school. So why would Christina not come home? Christina's always missing, and I think it's because she's off with Stu. It would make sense for Christina to kind of cling to Stu because, like I said, she kind of has a dark side. I think she liked Billy's dark side. And once Billy was killed, and Stu survived, maybe sought out Christina to help him, and she clung to Stu because she craved that dark side. Just one more little clue from Scream 5's opening scene that I do want to throw in is Ghostface somehow has access to the locks on Tara's house. Now, of course, I suppose there are ways to hack the system, but, Christina would have access to those locks. That's just something else to think about that I wanted to bring to your attention. Yeah, Christina Carpenter is my number one suspect for Stu Macher'S Accomplice. However, now that Sam and Tara will not be in Scream 7, I am not sure how likely this is, which is a total bummer because I think this makes perfect sense and this is absolutely what I want to see in Scream 7. They could still do it. Even without Sam and Tara, I do think that they could still do it because Scream 7 is going to be a Sydney-focused movie, and Christina and Sydney have history together. They went to high school together, they both dated Billy Loomis, and I'm sure Christina was jealous at the time because, Billy claimed Sydney as his girlfriend publicly. Meanwhile, she had to stay in secret, and Christina was in love with Billy, and Sydney killed him. So maybe Christina wants revenge on Sydney. So I don't know, I guess we'll see. But moving on to Stu's second potential accomplice, I have Leslie Macher, his sister. Leslie Macher is another person who could have been helping him stay in hiding all of these years. I mean, that is his family. Now, of course, Leslie's son Vince was killed in Scream 5. So many of you have asked me, why would Leslie have her son killed, or why would Stu's cult members kill his sister's son? And I don't know, there's a couple different reasons. Maybe Richie and Amber went rogue and decided to kill him, and maybe that pissed off Stu. Maybe Stu was meant to show up at the end of Scream 5 in his house, but then decided to leave them on their own because he was pissed that his nephew was killed. That's a possibility. Or maybe Vince was let in on the secret that Stu's alive leading a cult, and Vince didn't want to be a part of it, and so they decided to kill him. Maybe Stu decided to kill him because he couldn't have someone who knew his secret but not willing to help him be out there blabbing away, letting everyone know that Stu's still alive. I don't know, there's a few different reasons they can come up with why Leslie's son would get killed if she is helping Stu, but she's definitely an option as Stu's accomplice. Of course, we never got to see her in the first movie, but if you're familiar with my channel, then you know that my theory is that Stu's parents paid off the Woodsboro police to help cover up his being alive and to help fake his death, because clearly his family had money. I mean, just look at the house that they lived in. So I do think that Stu's parents knew that he was still alive. Therefore, I do believe his sister would also know. And maybe she's been helping him all these years, helping him stay in hiding, giving him money, helping him recruit cult members. I don't know. But honestly, my dream scenario would be Stu Leslie, and Christina all working together. And if you guys remember, many months ago, there was apparently a Scream 7 script leak where Christina and Leslie were in the script. Now, I don't know if the script said that they were ghost faces. I do kind of think that they were just in the script as characters, but people kind of ran with this idea that they were going to be the ghost faces. I honestly don't even know if this script leak was legit, but yeah, Stu, Christina, and Leslie would be my dream scenario, so I guess we'll see if it happens. Another option for Stu's accomplice, in my opinion, is Danny Brackett from Scream 6. I do have a couple theories about this on the channel as well, which go into far more detail than we will today, but I will just say I think Danny in Scream 6 was pretty suspicious. He has a lot of suspicious moments, but the number one moment that first made me suspicious of him in the first place was the scene with him and Sam in the lobby of their building. And Sam's kind of complaining about Tara, and Danny says, "Family can be rough," and looks down at the floor, and the line just kind of gets brushed over because Chad just comes running down the stairs and interrupts them.
He wants me to let her go.
Yeah, family can be rough.
Sam!
Who is Danny's family? Is he related to Stu somehow? Is he related to another past Ghostface? Could he be helping Stu run his cult? Another suspicious moment for him is he works on the Upper West Side, which is where GALE lives, and GALE gets attacked. And as Sam and Tara are leaving Central Park to make their way to GALE, she says, my friend Danny works over there. I'm gonna call him. And then Danny shows up after GALE is attacked, very suspiciously shows up after the attack, and Tara even calls him out for this. Danny says, "I got here as fast as I could," and Tara says, "Did you?"
I got here as fast as I could.
Did you?
And that's not the only time Tara called him out. She also called him out for separating the group on the subway. Another reason that I do think Danny showing up after GALE's attack is suspicious is because I do believe that Stu is the one who attacked GALE in Scream 6. There are so many clues in this scene that point towards this, which I'm not going to get into now. I will link the video for you where I do talk about Stu Macher being the one who attacked GALE. So yeah, like I said, not going to go into great detail about Danny in this video. You can check out my past Danny theory, which I will link for you. Now, moving on, we also potentially have Sydney's neighbor possibly being a cult member, or potentially her babysitter. There have been some rumors regarding Scream 7 that Sydney might have a neighbor who plays a big role in the movie, and that she also might have a babysitter, because we do know that Sydney has kids, so potentially her babysitter could be in the movie. And everyone is kind of speculating that the babysitter is going to die and possibly be the opening kill. But what if she's really a cult member and Stu's just kind of sending out some cult members to secretly infiltrate Sydney's life? Can you imagine that? I mean, Sydney thinks that she can trust this person as the babysitter. She trusts this person with her kids, and then it turns out they're working with Stu. So that's always a possibility. The babysitter could be a next door neighbor that kind of just keeps tabs on Sydney for Stu. And now, of course, another option for Stu's accomplice could just be a random cult member. Someone that we don't know, someone that we've never seen before, someone that really doesn't have any significance to the story or Sydney at all. Stu could be the leader, the main ghost face, and then he just has a bunch of different random cult members. It could turn out that it's no one special, no one that we've met before. Obviously, some cult members will just be random people, because I do think that there will be several cult members. I don't expect that the entire cult is going to consist of people that we know. I do think that there will be a lot of random people. Just like with every movie, there's like a new Ghostface that we don't really know from before. But I would love it if his like main accomplice, main partner could be someone that we've already met and someone that we know. Now, last but not least, one final option for Stu's accomplice, which is going to sound crazy, I know, but bear with me, hear me out. What if it's Sam Carpenter? I know this is crazy. I know it probably won't happen, but I just like to discuss these things, weigh all options, talk about the possibilities. Obviously, we know Melissa Barrera was fired, so it's looking like she's definitely not going to be in the movie. But, you know, there's been rumors, people have been speculating, and there's been rumors that apparently her and Spyglass have been trying to work things out. Now, I really don't think this is true. I have not made a video on this because I do think it is just a rumor. I don't think there's any truth to this, but what do I know? I could be wrong. Maybe there is truth to it. And if there is, what if Sam is going to make some sort of an appearance? And what if she is working with Stu? Now, a lot of people might say that that is like butchering her character, which I totally get, totally understand. You know, we've grown to care about and love Sam. So to see her kind of just turn bad sort of randomly, I get would kind of be insulting to the character. But when Sam was going to be in the movie before she got fired, I thought that Stu was going to try to recruit her into his cult because we know she is the daughter of Billy Loomis, who was Stu's partner, and we've seen Sam struggle with that dark side inside of her. So what if Stu kind of like preyed on that and tried to get her to fully flip to the dark side and join his cult? And what if she kind of gave into that? I don't know. It's just something to think about. Like I said, don't think it's going to happen. I do think this would piss off a lot of people, but never say never. Just throwing it out there as a possibility. But there you have it. Those are some options for Stu Macher'S Accomplice. That was about 7 or so options. We had Christina Carpenter, Leslie Macher, Danny Brackett. We have the neighbor or the babysitter, a random cult member, and Sam Carpenter. So there's a lot to think about in this video. Let me know your thoughts. Leave a comment down below. I really want to know what you guys think. Are you a Stu believer? Do you think that he's alive and will return in Scream 7? And do you think he's leading a cult? And if so, who do you think will be his accomplice? Please give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Please turn on all notifications so that you don't miss out on future posts. I do also want to remind you guys that I do have merch for sale. I have my typical merch, Team Macher, Team Loomis, and Stu Crew. And I also have some merch for Sistapam Spookfest 2024, which is coming in October. Spookfest is starting October 1st, but you can purchase a t-shirt or a sweatshirt now if you'd like. The link is down in the description. Thanks for tuning into another video, and I will see you guys next time.